This is the greatest classroom in the world. There's nothing better than this that you learn, because all of us came from this.
My guide was probably the best one I've ever come across. I've done several safaris, 5 trips to Africa. This is now my 6th. And without doubt, he is the complete guide for me. And I say that from the point of view, he's got 30 plus years of experience, right? And you don't become good at something. And if you've got 30 odd years of experience, you are good at what you do, right? He is a real craftsman. The good thing about what he does is he wants to pass knowledge on. And if I look at him, he's a curator of the bush. He's a caretaker, and what he wants to do is pass on knowledge. And what I have found in this particular scenario of this safari is that it's a lesson in life. He's teaching you about the bush, he's teaching you about the animals, the ecology, the flora, the fauna. It's comprehensive, but he does it in such a way that it's enjoyable, and it's really, really insightful. And I think that's the real trigger point for me to wanting to come back.
I grew up as a farm boy, surrounded by animals, knew I loved them, and went to some fantastic places. And then at 18, 19 years old, I was lucky enough to go and do a safari guide course, and that was to build on my initial love for wildlife. That was, to be honest, a completely life-changing moment, because my trainer was Graham, and he took that interest and that passion. He gave me so much information and so much understanding that it completely transformed the whole experience, to the point every year since I've been going back somewhere else. And it doesn't matter whether you're staying in a tent, or whether you're in a traditional camp, or whether you're in the most luxurious of places. The experience and the connection and the awakening inside yourself is just something that I have never experienced or encountered with anyone else, because I don't think it exists. And that's why we set this up, and that's what we want to give everybody.
If somebody had to ask me why would they go on a safari with me rather than anybody else or any other company, I would say that I have a bit of an advantage, and I've been fortunate enough to, I've spent my whole working life in the bush, lucky enough to hand rear 2 leopard cubs in the wild and release them back into the wild when they were adults, which gave me incredible insights into just that animal's mind and how that animal sees the world. And I think there's not many people who can offer that to their clients, really. So I think I have more of a in-depth sense of what the workings of and understanding of how those certain animals work and live and survive. Worked with other animals very closely, where I was fortunate enough to spend 12 years with a troop of baboons, which again taught me a huge amount, and probably in an interesting way, more about myself rather than so much learning about the animals. But you actually begin to relate, especially when it's another primate. You start to see the value in yourselves, and it makes you look and reflect back on society and see that there's a whole lot of things that are to me, that are missing in society, and people are actually yearning for. And I think the reason why people go on safari in the wild is because there's a sense of wonder and lack of control of your destiny, in a way, because you're handing yourself over to a completely different element, which opens you up to a whole world of knowledge and discovery within yourself and the natural world. The whole essence is to actually make you aware that everybody is innately passionate about or shares some common link and denominator with the natural world. And I think that's what I thrive on, is actually opening people's eyes. When you take people out, park them next to whatever it is, could be an elephant, could be a lion, could be a mouse, but obviously it works better with the bigger stuff. But once you do that, you see their eyes light up, you see their mind open up, you see their spirit shine, you see the whole energy that wasn't there when they first arrived on your doorstep, having not experienced this. But I think it's up to the person as a guide who's taking that person out into the environment, If you don't create the link, well, you're lacking in creating the magic for the person. And I think that's the crux of the whole matter. You will leave with a much greater understanding and a far greater appreciation and of wild animals, not only the animals, but just the environment, the world, yourself, because you're almost going on a journey within yourself, being fed by what you're actually looking at. And I think the essence of what the whole story is reconnecting people with what's already inside them, but they've tend to forgotten. Greatest gift you can give somebody is to reconnect them with that wild creature that's actually living in there, sometimes probably screaming to get out. This is the greatest classroom in the world. There's nothing better than this that you learn, because all of us came from this. And I think we need to learn to be back in touch with that, and that's what I thrive on, basically giving back to people, because to me that is a really special gift, and the bush can only give that to you. Warmth of the sun, air through your hair, smell of dust, back to the basics. And I think that's the crucial part of it, and all of that comes back to the person who's going to be leading you through those safaris. You can't put a value on it. I've seen it many times when people have left with a far greater appreciation. And having bumped into people who I have taken on safari previously, years later, and see them still thriving with the energy and just a new appreciation and an absolute love and for the wild, and obviously what they've learnt and experienced through my eyes, and you'll always come back. You won't only make a one trip of it. And I think that's the magic of why I do what I do.